Televisão de Portugal. S.A.is is the public service broadcasting organization of Portugal. It operates 4 television channels and 3 national radio channels, as well as several satellite and cable offerings. The company came into effect on the 31st of March 2004 with the merger of 2 previously separate companies, Radiodifusão Portuguesa and Radiotelevisão. Portuguesa, RTP is a state-owned corporation funded by television advertising revenues, government grants, and the tax at a contribuição audiovisual, which is incorporated in electricity bills. History. Radio. The emissora nacional de Radiodifusão was established on 4 August 1935 as the public national radio broadcaster, inheriting the previous broadcasting operations of the National Postal Service, Correios, Telegrafos e Telephones. 5 years later, ENR became independent of the CTT. ENR was one of the 23 founding broadcasting organizations of the European Broadcasting Union in 1950. Following the Carnation Revolution, ENR was reorganized and in 1976 changed its name to Radiodifusão Portuguesa. During this process, several previously private radio stations, such as Radio Clube Português, were nationalized and integrated into RDP. In 1979, the RCP network was rebranded as Radio Commercial and was later privatized in 1993. At the same time, RDP launched the youth-oriented radio station Antenna 3 and abolished advertising from all of its stations, so that the aforementioned broadcasting contribution tax became its sole source of funding. Television. Radiotelevisão Portuguesa's television service was established on 15 December 1955. Experimental broadcasts began in September 1956 from the Feira Popular Studios in Lisbon. 20 monitors were installed in the park, but crowds gathered in shops around the city. The broadcast was received within a range of about 20 kilometers. Around 1,000 TV sets are sold within a month. Regular broadcasting, however, did not start until the 7th of March 1957, by which time coverage had reached approximately 65% of the Portuguese population. By the end of 1958, the total number of sets in Portugal was around 32,000. RTP was accepted as a full active member of the EBU in 1959. By the mid-1960s, RTP had become available throughout the country. Robert Farnan's Derby Day was extensively used as RTP's fanfare to open the programming since the very first day, and over the decades it has become RTP's official anthem. The 25th of December 1968 saw the opening of a second television channel, RTP2. 2 new regional channels were created in 1972 and 1975, for the Portuguese archipelagos of Madeira and the Azores. Before the Carnation Revolution, RTP was essentially a mouthpiece of the regime, and famously opened the newscast of the 20th of July 1969, the day of the first moon landing, with a segment showing President Americo Tomás opening a concrete factory. However, like many other broadcasters, it did broadcast live the landing of the man on the moon during the night. The first color broadcast was made in 1975, with the live coverage of the first parliamentary elections after the Carnation Revolution. But, due to the political turmoil and the economic situation of the country, the color regular broadcast was delayed several times for nearly 5 years. During that time, time RTP started to purchase some color equipment and make the occasional color recording, but the pressure kept going as the black and white equipment was getting old and very hard to repair. So in 1978 and 1979 a massive investment supported by a foreign loan gave RTP the opportunity to replace all the BW to increase the current amount of equipment and to be updated with the most advanced broadcast technologies available at the time. Despite this, only in February 1980, the government finally authorized the regular color broadcast, and 2 weeks after, on the 7th of March, RTP started the regular color broadcast, with more than 70% of the programs being already in color. Also, RTP moved its headquarters to a brand new building. The building was originally built to be converted to a hotel, but the owner decided to leave it untouched and reached an agreement with RTP for the purchase and converted the interior for office use. RTP moved to more adequate headquarters and sold the building in 2003, and the new owner converted into what is today the VIP at Lisboa. Until 1991, RTP owned its transmitter network, which was transferred to a state-owned enterprise which, through a series of mergers, became part of Portugal Telecom. RTP held the television monopoly until 1992, the year when the private SIC started broadcasting. Over the years, RTP's audience share has constantly reduced in favor of the private channels. 2007 was an exception to this tendency, and RTP1 became the second channel most watched in Portugal, only behind TVI. In 2004, RTP and RDP merged and became part of a larger state-owned holding, named Radiotelevisão de Portugal, and inaugurated the new headquarters near Parque das Nações in Lisbon. In the same year, the second channel was rebranded as 2, promoting itself as the Civil Society Service. Later in March 2007, 2 became RTP2 again. Due to the current financial crisis Portugal is facing, RTP was to be heavily restructured as part of the Portuguese government's austerity plan and would have included the sale of one of the free-to-air channel licenses. Pressure from the public and other organizations stopped the planned sales, though the restructuring plans are expected to be presented soon and include a redundancy plan and financing for new equipment. RTP has 16 regional offices spread all over the country, as well as international bureaus in Washington, D.C., Brussels, Moscow, Brazil and several other locations. RTP aired the 2008 Olympic Games in HD through the Zon TV Cabo satellite and cable platform. On the 30th of September 2009, RTP1 HD returned in an experimental broadcast. 2004 merger. Post-merger, the use of original full names of radio and television departments was phased out, but the abbreviation RDP is still used by international services RDP International and RDP Africa, as well as radio services in the autonomous regions of Azores and Madeira, while another abbreviation RTP now represents the merged company. Television channels. Former channels. RTP Mobile is a channel adapted to mobile devices. It ended in 2011-2012 with the ascension of mobile apps, a terrestrial channel available nationwide. Be available on the Portuguese cable, satellite and IPTV platforms. See available worldwide on satellite and cable platforms. D available in several African countries on satellite and cable platforms. Radio stations: Antenna 1, news, talk and sports station with a strong focus on Portuguese music ABC. Antenna 2, cultural programming, classical and world music, featuring live performances AC. Antenna 3, an up-tempo, youth-oriented station with focus on contemporary and alternative music. A. RDP International, the international radio service. C. RDP Africa, programming directed towards the Portuguese-speaking African communities. A. Radio Lusitania, a digital-only station with focus on Portuguese music. D. Antenna 1 Fado, a digital-only station with focus on Fado. D. Antenna 1 Vida, a digital-only station. D. Antenna 2 Opera, a digital-only station with focus on opera music. D. Antenna 3 Dance, a digital-only station with focus on dance music. D. Antenna 3 Rock, a digital-only station with focus on rock music. D. A. Available nationwide on FM and online. B. Also available on AM. C. Available on satellite all over the world. D. Available only on the Internet. The following stations are Antenna 1 regional stations: RDP Norte, RDP Centro, RDP Lisboa, RDP Sul, RDP Acores, RDP Madeira. News services: most RTP1 news programs are simulcasted with RTP International, RTP Africa, RTP Acores, RTP Madeira and, sometimes, RTP Informação television channel. These news programs include Bom Dia Portugal, live from the Lisbon studios; Jornal da Tarde, live from the Porto studios; Portugal M Directo, live from the Lisbon studios; Telejornal, live from the Lisbon studios. RTP2's only news service is Jornal 2, a shorter and a more objective newscast than the RTP1 ones. RTP3 features hourly news updates and headlines. Organization: Chairman of the Board Almerindo Marques, 2002-2008. Guilherme Costa, 2008-2012. Alberto da Ponte, 2012-2015. Goncalo Reis, 2015-present. Managing Editor of RTP José Rodrigues dos Santos, 2001-2004. José Alberto Carvalho, 2004-2011. Nuno Santos, 2011-2012. Paulo Ferreira, 2012-2014. José Manuel Portugal, 2014-2015. Paulo Dentinho, 2015-present. Programming Directors of RTP1 Nuno Santos, 2002-2007. José Fragaza, 2008-2011. Hugo Andrade, 2011-2015. Daniel Doistado, 2015-present. Programming Directors of RTP2 Manuel Falco, 2003-2006. George Wemmans, 2006-2012. Hugo Andrade, 2012-2014. Alicio Oliveira, 2014-2015. Teresa Paixão, 2015-present.